requesting Gayatri ma'am and rest of the panelists too to have the overviews and the constraints over these specific pertinent subjects. Ma'am, I believe you are on mute.
Okay.
Right.
Am I audible?
Yeah, perfectly.
Oh, thanks. All right. I said thanks, Anupam, for this wonderful, invite for us. And of course, I thank all the, all the academicians who are here, like who are investing their Sunday evening. Because I'm sure when I was in college, I used to ensure that all my weekends are entirely busy going hiking and trekking. And I really appreciate this Team Z, who is so much interested and putting in so much of efforts in learning how the corporates work. So first is there are no Sundays. I mean, unless and until there is a pressing need on the home front. All right.
Right.
So that's one part of it. Now, coming to the HR analytics part. So, when probably a generation before me, that was the generation wherein, or probably before that, probably my grandfather's generation or so. That was the time when we just got the independence and all. So that, I mean, that time, most of the industries were manufacturing based, with more presence more in India, and the kind of manpower that was being hired or something of this sort was wherein people used to be there with the given organization for generations together. And there was not much of the challenges which were happening on the on the manpower front as such, and it was more of blue collared work which was coming into our industry, I mean into the corporates as such. It was only when the Y2K happened, in the year 2000, when this IT boom came in, and wherein the value of the white collared associates actually came into picture. That was a time when the most important part of any capital was manpower. I mean, that was also looked upon as a capital by most of the organizations. That's where actually HR function is, or else it was more of IR related, handling the workers and all. So they used to do more of payroll and time management and like. But after that, the thought process as to how the employees think, how do we look into the career progression of the white collared employees who are well educated. It might not happen so that only if they have certain level of experience which is like more than a decade, only then they will progress, because everything was getting into a change. So after that, so now from there, the actual HR happened. Then it happened so that HR came into the strategic roles, and now it is a pure role of HR analytics. When we say HR analytics, it means all the decisions from the HR perspective are also data driven. Unlike it was earlier, it used to be more of field based, or मैं इसको जानता हूँ और मेरे को पता है 10 साल से देख रहा हूँ, kinds of those kind of decisions. Opportunity to sit on the decision making table. That time obviously it was more of data driven decisions came into being. So now when we say HR analytics, it starts right even at the recruitment stage, or rather even before the recruitment stage, even when the business plans are being made. That is also when the HR has a center stage to arrive at, because the manpower planning comes into foray at that particular point in time. So that's how, until the exit, when we say when we are talking about the attrition which is happening in the organizations, even that is being looked into much more in detail. Okay, because hiring, I mean, it has been proven that hiring a person, rehiring a person makes a company invest at least $15,000 additionally. Okay, because he or she carries away with the knowledge base that he or she carries. So even that goes along with the person who moves out. Once the person, so the training cost is also involved, and that is where the HR analytical function comes into foray. So maybe once we take it further from Anupam, like, the further questions, we can definitely deep dive. So, Anupam, is this okay, or you will want me to speak more?
No, you actually very well articulated this thing. Like it basically starts from recruitment and goes along with the procedures, I could say, as per the business plans. And what about you, Anand sir? Like, do you have any, inputs or the insights you would like to achieve? Because what we have been thought of in consideration with the Gayatri ma'am too.
Hi, good evening. First of all, I kept myself in the mute because of the pandemic. We all are working from the home and spending time in the native and enjoying the retirement life. I feel it. So, coming to the topic, which explain more about the HR analytics. Uh, yes, HR analytics is a strategic point of view in the long-term goal where improves the HR performance and identifying the HR attrition issues and all. Attrition issues also database analysis will affect and involve into terms of taking attractive appropriate actions and decisions. So identify best performing talent and transform the roles of HR into the HR strategic partners. And we can predict what going and many of them nowadays are dependent purely into the HR analytics, and it will be developed. HR will be the backbone for the organization. That I can say it will be help to the HR analytics.
Okay. And what about you, Pramod sir? Can you hear me?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening. Thanks, IIM Kashipur, and my panelists, my colleagues, Anuradha, Mr. Anand, and Gayatri, ma'am. Thanks to all, and good evening. I will start and with some future of HR analytics, because the core area where we all have to focus, whether it is industry or whether it is a college, academia, whatever it is. Many organizations nowadays have actively started using this kind of big data HR analytics and have been reaping their benefits in the same manner, in the same consonance. Like some companies, if you talk about the IT-enabled industry, IT industries like Cognizant, SCL, Deloitte, they all are using it in a very judiciously manner, and they are also approaching in their daily practices. And we are, our HR guys, we are experiencing a monumental changes in the HR landscape. If you talk about the organizations are realizing the needs, let's say the need of our, and it's embrace a data-driven culture to complete it with other and attract top talent. If you talk about the HR mostly focus and primarily focus on the recruitment prospect. If you once you have selected a right talent, other thing will be managed easily. So if you come to the point of HR analytics, data analysis has taken over as a necessary tools to move beyond gut feelings, and but it comes with their own challenges. It carries some challenges. One concept is gained by removing people apprehension to move beyond traditional way. That is the main problems earlier. Prior to, if we talk about the this data-driven culture, this big data, HR analytics, machine learning. Prior to machine learning, if we talk about this, I should manage through what? They collect data manually, like my co-panelist has already illustrated about it. Semi-automated way it was with. And with this, all, if we talk about the total, it's a feature and its aspect and impact, I would mostly focus and give them a priority, that is psychology. It's also playing a increasingly important role in HR HR industrial perspective, because it's help to apply psychological principle to employee of an organization with the goal of increasing their productivity and employee well-being too. while maintaining overall organizational performance. Because I am looking after all the manufacturing units. It's a five, it's a 6 units where it's a thermal power stations where we are daily to day on day-to-day basis we are seeing this impact and the importance of psychology, which we can have to focus for our future endurance. And if we talk about the new possibility, promises, and all the things, the more importantly, we all are using our and practices our in their then their different. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, yes.
Recruitment focus in HR tech and remote hiring, like it's become a big challenge for us. But due to other regions, we are not been in the main area where we can give some inputs. We are facing problems. So these all kind of for HR analytics. If you talk about the futures of HR, there are so many hindrances. There are so many obstacles. But if we focus on some area, like I have talked about the industrial psychology, employee psychology, this is very important, particularly in this COVID period, because most of the employees like sales, and though I'm not concerned about it because we are directly selling the electricity to EP Power Corporation, so we have no problem that kind of sales and marketing. There is no requirement over here. So, but the company who is having some sales and marketing people, some HR people, they have the problem, particularly when the employees are working from home. They are feeling a lot. Over to Anupam.
Very well explained, Pramod sir. I want to like to ask one question. Like, see, in this current scenario where every organization is dealing with all over the world and with different kind of issues, either could be remote working considerations, either could be measuring the productivity of our employees to getting involved into employee engagement activities. Because I mean, it itself is being dealing with such practices and such constraints wherein we have to focus on so many things that because being a business partner right now we are behaving like as a change agent and we are working with the business goals at the same time. So what are all those I mean, I could ask HR vertical which has to be kept with the necessary pace of change. Anand? Anand sir, can you hear us? Okay, Gayatri ma'am, I would request your insights over this. Like, what could be that HR, I could say, the necessary pace of change where we all are dealing with this, emphasizing over the data analytics for gaining competitive advantages.
Yeah. See, right now, when we are saying that everybody is work from home, in our organization, we being into an IT industry, we all are on work from home as of now, most likely till December. We are, because the safety of all our associates is extremely important. And we are in Pune, we are based out of Pune. So obviously, we've been worst hit globally. Pune is ranked #1 with respect to the number of COVID cases that have come out. That's an unfortunate part, but yes, business is as usual. Business has been as usual. That is primarily because of the first steps, like when maybe in the month of February end or March, we had immediately sent around a questionnaire to all our associates across. I mean, we had sent it across all locations of ours, wherein we had asked them about their readiness for a long term work from home, because this was a situation which nobody had anticipated in the world. I mean, how much ever champ person we might be having around, but nobody could assess what COVID wanted to throw at us, right? So when we had given ahead with the survey, we had predominantly asked associates with respect to their availability with the internet, because for the IT industry to operate, the laptop, and the internet connection. These are the two prime requirements. Based on the questionnaire, we had done the analytics around it, like, so we had also checked out the addresses, because we expected most of the associates to go back to their hometowns, like Mr. Anand was just talking about. So likewise, now Pune, if you see, like, most of the houses are open, and there's very few occupancy, less occupancy. So then it helped us understand, like, at which locations our associates might be wanting to go back home. And then so that was again a data driven decision that we had looked at. That was one part. Then we had also checked on their business continuity plans,
Right.
through the questionnaire that we had sent. Of course, it was a very good questionnaire that was sent out, and the response was phenomenal. And of course, there was a lot of appreciation which had come from all our associates, because they valued what the organization wants to help them with. Likewise, we had also helped few of the associates to, like, reach to their hometowns. For that, again, we had worked on the business continuity plans. We had informed our clients across the globe as to how we would be operating. So for that also, when we have to speak and interact with our clients and update them about how we would be functioning with respect to the COVID, again, we had to go with the data. We had to tell them that there will be only 10% of the associates who would be based out of Pune. Rest of them, everybody will be at different locations. So then, like, few of our clients being out of the US, they were a little skeptical if the time zones would differentiate. So that was also one of the factors that they would consider. So we had to explain them, like, in India, thankfully the time zone doesn't differ. So again, like, these decisions are also purely data driven, be it any kind of pandemic. And now, because COVID has taught us a lot, especially in the HR analytics field, I think it's the maximum data has been utilized here. Now when we are planning to get back to our office working, even at that time, we have to look at a lot of data. We have to look at the employee demographics also. Like, we have to check out if there are associates who are coming with their families, if they would be having their kids coming along. So these are the basic data, like HR demographics, that we have to look into, which encompasses the family side also of the businesses. Because when you're hiring an employee, you're not hiring one employee as such. Even his or her family is attached to the entire organization for 8-9 hours, whatever the person is going to work for this time. Secondly, we had also done, since it was the month of March, we had very clearly defined the KRAs. Now we have moved from KRAs to the OKR practices, wherein the objectives are very clearly defined. And that's the reason now, even if I have to do the appraisals, we are not doing it waiting for the year to end, or even to do it bi-yearly. The OKRs are set for a quarter, and then there is a monthly assessment also which happens. And so it doesn't matter if your KRAs are set very clearly, if your business objectives are purely data driven. If I know how many joinings I have to complete in a day, how many exits I would be completing, or like if I have to look at any career progression plan, so is it how many numbers that I will be looking at? If that is charted out very clearly, or if at all I have to conduct any social engagements for my associates, then in that case, how many numbers, how many associates would be impacted with this? And what is the response that would be coming? So these are the part of HR analytics which are absolutely business as usual, but it's just that you have to map it very clearly. So if HR analytics has to be successful, the basic HR data capturing has to be very, very successful and very efficient.
Yeah, very true, because I myself give an example, like we handle 5,000 manpower. We have like approximately 40 plants across the country, and I myself being an individual in a team handling the 5,000 manpower. It is only data which help us to track rest of the things, considering this COVID situation only, how they all over travel plans could be made, how the KRS could be redefined, how the productivity could be managed. It's all about the authenticity of the data, because a single wrong data can give you or ruin a career of a single one individual. So the person who is actually handling this responsibility has to be his keep their eye and ear I could say open while working on this data, because we are a one who used to be work on excel. At that moment of time we never used to have that AI or BI kind of the things. But now this time when the Gen Z itself is working on these technologies, they must, during these 5 or 6 months the technology has driven us completely, and the entire processes have been changed, and we are now become the HR automation managers. Previously we used to call the laptop managers. So the mindset is totally have been changed, I think.
Right, right. Yeah, and actually, because see, to demonstrate that HR is unbiased, we have to maintain so much of uniformity across all
True.
processes.
True.
That is because we are always in a very glamorous role, and
Hmm.
it's only the HR person who knows, like, what are the thorns attached to it.
Very true. So, one more thing, like I would address this to Anand and Pramod as well. Like, through what mechanism do you think, like the new generation of HRs currently, joining the organizations, which can make to understood the importance of using data analytics, so that they can plan or how we are going to train them for the future challenges.
Yeah, hi, Anupam Singh. Anand here. Majorly HR database, I can tell you the simple advisory thing that which Gayatri ma'am spoke about it. Uh, we have a mechanism that we early in the morning, as soon as you woke up, we present one group and saying that hi call in the morning. So that shows about the indirectly, directly,
Problem.
many people talks about that it is HR data, but
Connectivity.
frankly speaking, it is not about the data to know about the
Connection.
employee well-being about it. So wanted to know what about the employee, how is he, what and all, what performing, whether attended or not. Once person or employee, anything, if anybody attended, that's all. That any escalation, anything will be resolved. So data plays a vital role in terms of in that way, in terms of acting in a manner and predicting and taking corrective actions in that. And
Yes, I can hear you, Anand. I missed your last word. Anand, can you hear me? I think we lost him. Pramod, am I audible?
Hello.
Yes, Pramod, am I audible to you?
Yeah, there is a connection problem, ma'am.
It's okay. This is one of the
Yeah, we are
common thing which
facing
we
lot
used
of
to deal on a
issues.
daily basis. So these comes now into the jargons that am I audible or not? So this is
Yeah.
something which has to be accepted now.
Most
Okay,
probably we use this one. Well,
perfectly. I mean, we are now used to have this thing now.
very well.
Yeah. So Pramod, we were just discussing about the data analytics and the role of an HR during these practices, right? So what do you think? Like, what do you feel like the data analytics helps to manage human resources on daily basis? I think again we lost him. Pramod, am I audible? Anand, are you there? There is a technical glitch. Yeah, Anand, can you hear me?
I think there is some technical problem. Sometimes we could able to hear your voice, and sometimes could not able to hear voice. I don't know, is it from my side or the network and center side? Uh, as I
Yeah.
explain to you HR strategic that which we followed in terms of as soon as we wake up in the morning, we make sure everyone to say hi. It's call about the hi call to motivate everyone in terms of gathering everyone together. It's now during this pandemic time we feel everybody together, and that the high call give a clear reflection that everybody is there in online in terms of HR perspective, IT or finance, any escalation point of view. And I feel many times any escalation, any things will be landed directly or indirectly at HR hand. So keeping in the mind that we make everyone to be active and make sure they perform well. So that high call also, in out of 3,500 every day in the morning, my first priority to perform that 600 to 700 people required to wake them up. Yeah,
Right.
directly or indirectly, I have to. I'm in a position to give a show cause order, call them, SMS them, all will happen. But end of the day, going back and see the performance levels and their level of work significance shows high qualified deliverables. So that way also HR analytics will help out to make and retain a good employee. Yeah, and take everybody into the right platform. So
Right.
yeah,
So this is one of the way which you
yeah,
guys are
yeah,
following to get connected with the team, right?
yes, yes, yes.
So Anand, and like while following all these practices, although you guys are doing quite good job, what kind of hiring and analytical platform would you like to just discuss with us? You guys are being used in your organization for talent attraction and acquisition processes.
Yeah, right now, if you say, to be frank, we stopped hiring platform from March, or lockdown period started from March 23rd. So from March 23rd onwards to till now, we are more engaging and emphasizing the people engagement. So instead of many of them wanted living on them on their own, we are okay if anybody wanted to groom up their career into the different platform and different sectors. It's okay. Whoever liking and whoever interested to be with us, so we are retaining them in terms of hiring platforms and all. As such, you ask questions, so we are not in interesting and we are not taking any form and don't wanted to add any baggage to this.
Right,
So don't
right.
wanted to add any baggage and don't want to add more luggage of baggage to run ourselves with the baggage.
Right. So you, the team of an HR actually been working more into emotional intelligence, which we call a
Yes,
human touch, right? Because this
yes,
is one
yes.
of the major factor which we has to be dealt with. So during this, I could say on using analytics part, Anand, like what do you think? How it's going to be help to manage human resources while managing the emotional touch at the same time? Anand, am I audible? I think we lost him again. Gayatri ma'am, I want you to answer this one of my insight. Like during this time when emotional intelligence plays a very vital role, because in it H itself in HR, says about a human, and we in this pandemic are more focusing towards this specific thing. So how this BI AI is going, and specifically data analytics goes to be play a different kind of the role. How it's going to be helpful for us?
Yeah, see, Anupam, I mean, since you're also a very strong HR professional, HR will always play a true two-pronged role, right? It's always a two-pronged approach that we have to follow. Like, despite we taking up many hard decisions, and it is always known that if at all there is a PIP which is required to be run, or if at all, unfortunately, if there is a termination that has to happen, it is always coming from the HR. But unfortunately, if there is a promotion or if at all there is any hike to be declared, it is always coming from the manager, right? So, so that's the difficult part of HR, and that's how many techies are of the opinion that पता नहीं HR क्या करता है,
Hmm.
हमको तो सिर्फ appraisal के time दिखता है, kind
Hmm.
of. But
Hmm.
yes, like Anupam, I'm sure you might have also had a lot of decisions which are being made at the management table. You might have been party to it. So even for the youngsters, Gen Z who is here, let me tell you that the decision making approach is always extremely data centric, Okay. Like, if at all I'm looking at, let's say I have to hire people from the IIMs, then in that case, I will first deep dive and check out, like, what has been my past experience. So there are three levels of, like, analysis that is being, that a person is required to look into. So one is obviously the, like, the historical data that we have to look into. Then we also have to look into the present data, I mean the current data, which is available on hand, and based on that the predictive data is required to be taken up. Okay, so when these are the three levels of data that we would be looking at, only after the decision is made. Post that, and of course, since it is human factor which also impacts the brand of the organization, I mean, though there are people who feel that HR is, like, required to deliver what the business says, that's not the case. We have to act as very, very strong consultants, and like, when we, probably I was new into this HR field, in my younger days, we used to say that gun load karke business ke haath mein de deni hai chalane ke liye, kinds of. Okay, that was the approach. So gun loading is the decisions, the HR analytics part, having all the base data in place, and getting as much as a data, I mean capturing as much as a data is the key for any correct right decision to arrive at, while the delivery of the decision has to be on a very, very human side. That is where the emotional part comes into play, right? It is very easy to tell a person ki, come on, I mean, this is the day, and then, like, you've been terminated. The person might not be responsible for the, like, problem that has arrived to the organization, but how you handle this communication is extremely important. Like, because see, in my previous organization, we were required to do some kind of right sizing for the organization, which is a normal, which happens in any organization. But the communication, how you handle this kind of communication, because you have to come at a very, very deep data. We had identified, like, who were the people, what was the age bracket whom we would be required to, like, first is the most important thing is the role. Against the role, what is the compensation that you are paying? Okay, and is it possible that, like, you need any kind of tacit knowledge? Even that data has to be captured. Okay, only you, when you have all this data, which is, like, the immediate data, which is purely into numbers, as well as the tacit data when you have on hand. We had also gone ahead and checked out, like, if at all we have to hire younger talent, then in that case, what is the availability, what would be the readiness of the younger talent if we have to hire in these given positions, or are we going to do away with the positions? If we do away with the positions, what is the business impact that would be coming on the particular, like, for the particular year? And if at all we have to look at the training cost, how much would be the training cost vis-a-vis, is it worthwhile to ask a person to move out, right? So these are so many factors that you have to consider while arriving at any smallest of the decision which is in HR, because it impacts the human life. And when it comes, I, like, as I've said earlier also, it's not only one human being who is getting impacted. Along with him or her, it is the entire family who will be getting impacted, and the brand image of the organization, which is a much more larger thing, which we have to always consider and put forth, because the organization is always larger than the human beings. Okay, so that has to be considered. And then the human part of it, like, like, if we are doing the resizing, then is it that this person can be deployed to some other role, or is there a possibility that if we just reduce the salary and then still we continue with this person? So even these are the facets that are to be looked into. So HR is always a two-pronged approach. It cannot be working in isolation. It cannot work only data driven. It cannot even work only in emotional decisions, is what I would want to tell you.
Yes, I would say one thing, like being an HR, like the person, those are studying about HR, and the person, those are actually working on that specific position. They are empowered by with some, I could say, silent decision maker authorities, but additionally they are emotionally connected with the people those are working around them. And it is very important for anyone, like those are at that position, they have to understand exactly the scenario, how it's going to be working and how it's going to impacting the entire decision making processes. As you mentioned previously, Gayatri ma'am, that you itself in been, change the entire or revisit your policies, identifying the KRAs and moved up to the OKRs. So how it's going to help you in multiple ways to defining the appraisals or the compensations of your employees?
See, when we say that we have moved to OKRs, when OKRs, I'm sure you might have read about it. It was Google who started with the practice of setting up OKRs, and they've been very, very successful with that. We, being an organization which is into product plus services, OKR suits our requirements absolutely well. OKR gives every associate an opportunity to have stretched targets rather than just looking at the given targets, like मैं दिन में 5 exits करूंगी, 10 joinings करूंगी, kinds of. Beyond that, like you go ahead and check out what is the impact of the joinings that you're doing. Are you collecting the feedback? So when you say that I'm collecting the feedback, have you developed a questionnaire, and against that questionnaire, what is the rating that you're given on a scale of 1 to 5? 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. So again, like you are making efforts to collect data. So now if I have done 10 joinings in a day, and then I come up with data wherein I say that there are 8 associates who have given me a 5 on 5, but then there are 2 associates who have given me a 3 on 5. Then are we looking at that 3? Okay, the 5 on 5, maybe things might have fabulous, but then for these people, they might be very minuscule in size, right? Because out of 10, if there are only 2, it's like 20%, so out of 100. So then in that case, are we taking any measures to ensure that our onboarding is 100% impactful? Because every associate counts in the organization, and once the onboarding is done, I mean that till that time the person is into an employee experience that the person is into. Post that, you have to get the person engaged on a more tactical level, wherein his deployment should be more successful. So that time this feedback on the joining date makes a very stronger impact. So this is what we look into. Even when we are doing an exit, the exact reason for an exit should be known. Like, if you go and do an exit interview on the last day of the exit, I mean, I don't think so it's worthwhile. You're not going to get the right thoughts. Yeah, you're not going to get the right feedback about the organization. The day you get to know, I mean, I have institutionalized this practice with all my associates, I mean, all my team members. It's a mandate that the day we get to know about the exit, I mean, the resignation of an associate, that is the day we have to go and speak to the person, come what may, how much ever the day might be extensively busy for them. Because that is when you will get the real feedback. So when you're capturing the data is also extremely important, rather than what data. So when, why, how are the factors which make an impact while you're having any HR activities being conducted.
Right. I can give you an example. When I used to work with my previous bosses, he has just given me one idea, like, Anupam, whenever you're working on any data part, and when you used to need to do an analysis part, ask 5 WS questions from you, like what you want to show, how you want to show, and for what purpose you want to show. It will help you to decrease the number of slides or number of pages across all over the, bucket list, or I could say the bunch of files. So whenever anyone, like it could be me, it could be any academic student, like whenever they are preparing any data, ask these 5 set of questions, the WH questions, which we call, it will help you to take any decision in a very efficient manner. I would request your insights, Anand, on these perspectives.
Hi, Anupam. I felt very happy the conversation explained by Gayatri ma'am. To be frank, such incidents we thought in proactively, and we have developed a mechanism for the service oriented, where we were having 3,000 employed, and unfortunately we come down to 3,000 employees, and already 500 employees list out, and quite some of them left on their own, and few of them we sacked because of the certain things due to during the pandemic. So what we developed, in HR point of view, we developed a service oriented, like we have to give a service to the people. So now people are not in a position to pay back. Okay, it's okay. As a well-being and organization, don't expect the returns right now. So We have to prioritize service oriented and prioritize people accordingly, and prepared a staff model where the staff model talks about what kind of service we have to give to the people, I mean customer. So what is the workload is there, how we can develop for that, and accordingly we have prepared a staff model which talks about the manpower modeling structure, where if you do manually 3,500 manpower is required. Now if you do with the service oriented, we can accommodate around with the 2,500 employees. So we enabled staff model as soon as lockdown started from March 23rd. Yeah, we could able to successfully organize and implemented with my operations head help and my HR state head HR cell. We could able to manage, and we could bring down to minimum number, and there is no chance that we asked to leave the people. Of course, if we ask to leave the people, it will not only to impact to one employee, it will give impact to the entire family. So keeping in that mind, we stagnated the staff model with the service oriented. So that service oriented concept now it is helping out. To be frank, March, April, May, June, July, we have not generated a single rupee. From July onwards, I can't believe where my MD CEO organized a HR meet for the successful collaboration that we could able to implement. So now return on investment, I can say the word is the return on investment, where we spend time on staff model. The staff model return on investment started giving yield from July, August, September, October, November. So this given really impact that we could able to pay back completely, where we kept salary spending would able to pay. We followed Maslow theory. Everybody nowadays talking about Maslow theory, but I don't know where was Maslow. But now opportunity to remember Maslow, and we are implementing the Maslow theory. So we were giving only 50% of the salary. To be frank, in front of everyone, it is a no fact of the back to good. I feel it's important for you all as being a student. Back to good, again I'm repeating, bad to good. So you all learn first bad to good. So 50% we could able to pay, and now from July onwards we paid 100%, and we fulfilled and paid back all the pending salaries. And we due to November, and successfully day before yesterday I could able to sign on the 3.5 crores arrears plus increment sheet on the salaries appraisal and performance. So that is a good achievement. I why I'm correlating this to the HR analytics, so you need to understand it is like a diagnostic. Whenever you go to the doctor place, they see, my grandfather and my parents used to say why this doctor is always write many reports and all. So I feel reports always will help you to take appropriate action and appropriate decision making. So in terms of taking decision making, we would have not implement that staff model. We would have been the 3,500 employees were in the stagnant stage, and they could not able to get the salary, and keeping the many people on the baggage backside, and would not able to run yourself, and keeping your limited resources with you and able to service to the people, service to the customers, and get the return on investment, definitely will give better input out of that. And yeah, so in between I can say, we were talking about the exit. To be frankly speaking, Anupam, I was least bothered about the exit. If anybody wanted to leave the organization, I was least bothered about the exit. But I was the first person for celebrating their exit day in an appropriate way, in terms of giving proper send off, because they were giving services to us. End of the day, people plays a vital role to organization. So and especially HR should feel If you feel an employee is like a people and people is an asset to you, definitely that asset gives something benefit to you. And if you don't utilize properly from the people or manpower, that is a fault of management, fault of CEO, fault of operation head, fault of everything, fault of HR also. Yeah.
Yes, Anand. So the entire team is moreover working to make organization a complete employee-centric organization,
Yeah.
wherein, yeah, so wherein you are working on multiple policies, you are celebrating exit also at the same time, which is, I could say, a wonderful practice at the same gratitude level. Pramod, am I audible to you? I believe we lost him again. So during this time, like Gayatri and Anand, like I must say, you guys definitely have experienced more than me, no doubt. So how do you think like HR have been changed from being a personal management support to being a strategic advisor to the overall business?
करो यार, कुछ ये प्रॉब्लम है बार बार तुम्हारा.
Pramod, can you just mute yourself?
Anupam, rightly you said, sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yeah.
Don't mind. During this pandemic, we enjoyed like we have created an opportunity in terms of revenue generation. What happened, we could happen to put many people on the bench. Very sorry, this word I learned from Deloitte, where my first stint started from Deloitte as soon as I finished my MBA. In Deloitte, what we used to do, if anybody not having any work, we used to keep them on bench. Very good that Pramod was in Deloitte. Chairman used to pay even if they are bench, but we are not that so lucky, and organization is not that lucky. We keep them on bench and we don't pay any salaries to them. So the same concept I derived during this pandemic. Bench concept recognized and rolled out, policy generated, policy prepared, circulated, everything. What happened, in this bench, people will not get any work. And if any boss or any reporting manager, any peer allotted to the work, that person has to pay the salary to that person. So we prepared internal organizational structure and rules and regulations to them. But however, what we tried, we created an opportunity. Like we have log system like 40, 60 logs are there. You take log and you fulfill and close it and you get them pay. So in an average, a person can close 30 to 40 lakhs, but indirectly, directly, during the bench time, now employees can able to close 120 logs. I feel sometimes pandemic, this corona created a good opportunity and made organization to grow. In fact, they fulfilled 120 equivalent to 30. Approximately, we could able to complete all our legacy issues of the company. So people are striving for the opportunity, and they got work, and they could able to fulfill. And one more thing relating to this, we have 85 operation centers in across India. We all allotted and given a notice to all landlords, where landlords were reducing the rent, even though we were not listening, even because we have to pay 50 to 56 60 lakhs of rupees to the rent per month in each place. In India, 85 branches, approximately 50 lakhs per month rent. So we thought it's not required, and we related and we shut down and given opportunity to everyone to work from home, and taken certain limited space in the same place where we could able to effort from 1 to 2 lakhs. Don't know what happened to the previous management or whoever it may be. So now we are getting at the cheaper rent, and we could able to manage the same workload with the same people, with the operational cost and operational admin cost, whatever it may be. that's what it's linked and given appropriate action to the paying salaries on time and paying increments also.
Okay. Anand,
Yes,
can you
Anupam.
hear me? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. That's quite insightful, Anand. Gayatri, can you just hear me? Gayatri ma'am, am I audible?
Just give me a second. I think there's some fluctuation which is coming in. Just 1 second.
Yeah. So Anand, there are a number of activities you're being looking after. You're being hitting the best part, which I like the personally the most, that was you're celebrating the exit of the employees too,
Yeah.
because the mindset have been changed. We being an HR has to have a growth mindset. Instead of having this limited mindset with respect to our employees, with respect to what are the best practices we can adhere. Either it could be in data analysis, or it could be the celebration of another their achievements at the same time. So,
Yes.
Gayatri, yeah. So we were just discussing a bit, Gayatri, like
Yeah.
what exactly the role have been changed of an HR, like from a personal management support to being a strategic advisor all over the business.
Yes. See, earlier when we like any compensation planning used to happen, it used to be at a flat rate. I mean, I had always heard the people, I mean, erstwhile HR professionals saying that, like, basic kitna bada tumhara, basic kitna bada. Like, I mean, that's from a compensation perspective. But now when we are talking about any compensation planning to be done, then in that case, I will always look at my entire compensation statement that is coming, which is not basic. Earlier it was basic plus DA, and DA used to keep changing as per whatever the allowance, whatever industry that the person is into, and whatever DA was uh,
As per compliance, yeah.
published by the state government as well as the central government kinds. So because here in Maharashtra, state government is pretty active. But now we have completely done away with the DA part of it, right? There are hardly any organizations who will want to look at it. So the compensation structuring has been changed, and how it has changed. Like right now, if I'm looking to plan compensation for my IC roles, like, who are individual contributors, then in that case, I will, again, like sometime back, Anand spoke about the Maslow's theory. So then generally people into the IC roles would be someone who's psychological. I mean, needs are much more higher. For them, I will ensure that the compensation plan is in such a way that the person gets more higher take home salaries rather than focusing on the benefits plan, right? So whereas when I go little more higher on the ladder, and like, a person with other different kind of needs going above on the even the Maslow's theory. So there, if I have person who's more his willingness, his or her willingness for the belongingness of the organization, or how he wants to move into the career ladder, for them having a better benefits plan or a retiral plan is far more better. If I have more of my uh, age bracket in the organization, which is somewhere more above 32 to 40 kinds of, I would have a better insurance package for them. But if I'm working in a startup which has got most of the associates in the bracket of around 20 to 30, giving them a fabulous insurance package wherein the spouse is covered, the children are covered, I don't think so it's going to make any value to them, right? Because at max they will look at their own individual insurance. And I'm sure we do pre-employment checkup and all, and God bless, people are not required much more higher insurance packages at that time. Whereas if I am looking at people who are more into the mid management cadre, then I have to ensure that the package includes the spouses, includes the parents, because by the time the parents also might not be employed, because they might have crossed their 60s, their employment age. So accordingly, so these are the changes which have been impacted in HR. So again, this is also a data driven decision. Like even in my organization, very recently we had to change a few of our medical insurance plans, because, like, we had to include COVID and all also. So that time earlier, earlier in the pre-COVID era kinds of, even the IC roles were not having as much insurance. But now with COVID coming in, we had to mandate it to all the associates that see, the COVID is something that it cannot be guaranteed for anyone. So the social impact has also is also required to be understood by the organizations. So again, this is part of the HR analytics that we are looking at. So the labor changes, like now, right now, there are so many labor law changes that are happening. The new labor law is like completely changed as to what it was earlier. Even that has to be considered while we are making any decisions. So there is a lot of internal data as well as the external data which has to be mapped before making any decisions, be it compensation or even the exit plans, or there are severances which are given in this particular area. So those have to be checked out based. So these are again data driven decisions which are required to be done, which earlier were not happening. Earlier it was more of a flat structure which was being looked at. Like even now, like we give out few memberships to a few of the clubs and all. So people who are into the mid management cadre, they appreciate membership to the clubs and all, because they will want to have some social time, some time with their families and all. Whereas if you look at Gen Z, I mean, if we look a few of the people, if they join any organization immediately, they will have their own social channels. They will not be dependent on the organization, right? So what kind of plans, what kind of benefits, what kind of incentives that you are planning to give, even that matters a lot. Right now, if I have to go away, I go ahead, and Amazon has given a wonderful ad, if you might have seen. Ye to, I mean, one statement which really stayed in my mind was, ye to wo HR wali Neha ka idea hoga, giving that diffusers, right?
Yes.
So so now, so yes, I mean, these are the challenges that HR does face. And now you go ahead and give them a Amazon gift voucher. It has changed so drastically. Whereas if you would have checked in the previous era, it was always like, ki nahi, ye to mithai ka box de do, or a dry fruit ka box, which was very common to be given out during. In fact, there were few very old manufacturing organizations who would go ahead and give out clothes also. But that was the era, when people used to buy clothes or such things only because those were treated as luxuries. See, because the impact on our country also has to be checked out. Like when our fathers were working, my father was working that time, going to too many hotels or everything was looked upon as a luxury. Whereas if I have to look at my kids, it's more coming from a necessity. My mom is getting late to office, so let's order something, or let's go out. So it's not kind of a luxury anymore. So the needs are changing accordingly. HR is also changing, because it is impacting the businesses. Now we have a canteen facility which is running 24/7. And of course there are plethora of options, because even if you ask associates to work for late nights, people are getting more conscious on their eating trends also. So even the facilities team is also required to change their menu, and it cannot be one size fits all. So you have to keep a lot of options. So that's how I think the HR has changed. And of course it's all HR analytics which is helping out getting these differentiated decisions.
Actually, I could say the entire practice have been changed, which we used to have years ago. I mean, in these time, I mean, in post-COVID situations, though we have not been recovered yet properly, but this scenario is people are moreover eager to, I mean, invest time in their own development part, right? Wherein they can get to learn few things, wherein they can get connected with the people. Yes, compensation are the basic thing they would be looking out, but moreover they are looking something wherein they can to get involved in something procedure which could enhance their skills properly and if in an efficient manner. So that was quite insightful that you have been briefed in so articulated way, Gayatri ma'am. And probably Pramod sir, can you just hear me? I think we lost him again. Pramod sir, am I audible to you?
Hello,
Yes, sir. Finally, we can hear you.
Anupam.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah, tell me. Today, basically, I'm in remote location. That's why it's such kind of problem is begin.
No, you are. I could say you are a blessed soul that you are having these kind of so good charms, I think. Anyway, sir,
Yeah.
that we were just discussing about how the role of HR have been changed, like from personal management to a strategic advisor, and there are a number of positive insights have been shared by Anand sir and Gayatri ma'am. What do you think, sir? How it's the role have been changed?
Basically, the main thing which is most important for the HR students who is just doing their MBA in HR analytics, and even the HR professional who has just started their journey in this profession.
I missed your last statement, sir. Can you just repeat it again? So, moreover, Anand sir, can you hear me?
Yes, Anupam.
Yes. So, I probably best
Anupam,
promote.
Anupam, Anupam,
Sir,
am I audible?
you are audible,
Just
but
we are talking about the
yeah,
hello,
please. Yeah,
Anupam.
please, sir.
We are talking about just transformation of HR from personal management to change management as a advisor, and as a catalyst who is overall changing the business economics. Over the year, the HR department has evolved tremendously. In fact, the HR department has gone through a drastic changes in the last decades. We can talk about this. Thanks, why it's happened only due to the slew of technology that uh, automate much of the work. Hello, Anupam.
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Go ahead. We can hear you.
Thanks. And I mean to say that the technology has, the emergence of technology has automate much of the work traditionally done by HR professional. Now the HR department that exists today looks almost nothing like the one that came before. It's happened in addition to this. I would say that automation of payroll and streamline the onboarding processes. There are also so many platforms that simplify the recruiting processes and talent management too. So in, instead of focusing on personal management, administrative tasks, today HR department, at least the one that are forward thinking, spend their energies to managing employee engagements and extending the culture. They are also changed some kind of things that could work for their employee well-being. Despite the progress and evolutions that occurred in the HR sector over the last decade, uh, mm, most of the surveys indicated that they believe their company HR skill are lacking, as reported by some. I have seen some articles in Business Manager and other place, particular where Deloitte is saying a main reason for that it would seem is stem from the fact that companies are generally vary their.
Okay. Anand, am I audible?
Yes, Anupam.
Okay. So, what do you think, Anand, like how industry expectations, like from the HR aspirants' point of view and for future HR professionals, those are actually listening to us, are in terms of skill sets and knowledge to be required, to enhance the further requirements in coming future?
As frankly speaking, someone told HR is a glamorous. HR function is a glamorous. To be frank, HR is a glamorous where we have to attract, not with others, attract with the skills and strategic oriented in terms of developing, and it's giving organization to taking next level. So I can still relate this concept now. What we did, in HR point of view, for Diwali, everybody used to give sweets, gifts, and recognitions. What we thought differently, we called leave exchange for Diwali. So leave policy we liberalized to down to top level. I can exchange my leaves balance to my CEO. My CEO can exchange his leave balance to me. My director can exchange his leave balance to me, and I can exchange my leave balance to him. The similar way, a reporting manager, as I consider, I have 85 branches. Okay, in 85 branches, I'm having around 3,500 employees. Out of 3,500 employees, having, to be frank, God grace, till now I don't know, because of I'm a national head HR, I didn't use one single leave, or God allowed me that I did not use. I can say that the God not allowed me that I didn't use any single leave, because I was still active in all perspective. The similar way, that the same case in my team, many of them utilized leave. They exhausted. There was a LOP for them. So what I did, exchange leave bonanza, the concept we rolled out and extend. Can't believe many of them inter-exchange their leaves to internally in employee point of view. Everybody exchange their leaves. So did this given employee happiness and will lead to happy employee. And you can say X me, I don't want full pay. Someone need of full pay, where I am getting full pay because of I have full leaves. If I contribute my 10 leaves to someone, he or she will get 20 plus 10, 30 days salary. In this pandemic, we allowed 2 months extra to extend their leaves. And also one more strategic way that we added, every company gives self insurance and spouse and children. Self, spouse plus two children's. Four people can be given an insurance. But what happened? Somebody talking. So now what we did, in a different way, we added in this pandemic parents. No organization, none of them I can rate. Even I work with Deloitte, Aditya Birla, no organization dare to add parents. So it's tricky and tough task to me to impress my CEO, my director, and everybody, make them to accept, and added our employees parents to the pandemic. In fact, you can't believe 10 to 50, I can say 10 to 50 benefited out of this insurance, where we have paid, I think, hardly 60 to 70 lakhs for the adding parents. That indirectly and directly we have win employee hearts. So I have retained my 60% of the employee exit by adding this concept. Would have not had, many employees will leave. Many of the other organizations are not giving. This pandemic and that to Corona, they have got these all benefits for my company, and we could able to retain these people. And this is one more strategy which I would not reveal, but of course it's all about the benefit of, even I feel like you from Ahmedabad, I wanted you all to learn. HR always is a practical, very, very practical. We don't want education, we don't want appearance, we don't want any philosophy, we don't want any good communication, whatever it may be. So what we taught indirectly, directly, we added no attendance to your batch. No attendance, full pay, target. No attendance, minus full pay equal to target and full pay. So this formula we applied and rolled out an email, and we given approximately per branch equally it will be a 20 lakh salary. We told them 20 lakhs including rent. Some of them own, of course, God grace, some of the own properties. Rent, we added administration cost, no administration cost, and plus salaries. So we given a target. One of my very close CEO and finance head, both are younger than me. Even they intelligently thought, and we were thinking about it, and we given a target. Pay equivalent to your percentage of revenue. This time we wanted to survive, don't want to expect any profits. So we could able to survive. Because of that strategy, every branch could able to achieve their target more than 80%. Whoever crossed more than 50% organization point of view, that is enough for the sustaining greater than 2 years. So greater than 2 years means I can pay 1 month salary, right or wrong? That I don't know about to my employees. So we could able to pay their 100% salary, and they are earning their own salary. They feel happy. They could able to earn whatever the percentage we assign, and they are processing their salary. That's what policy worked out. And I can say again, going back to the data analytics, this also helped out with the data analytics only. No attendance. You and me, everybody can say no attendance. But what is outcome? Data analytics helped me to impress my board of directors. As HR is a very tough job to take acceptance from the board of directors. That I've shown the data. No attendance with attendance, where you calculate everybody 30 days present, even though if they are home. Today you can see I'm at my native place, I'm attending this session. If you consider me that if you want me to add my video, I have to add. In the same way, I can come to office, nothing I can do yield out of it, right? The similar way, will they go or will they work or whatever it may be? No, we don't have anything. So make link to this attendance. If they achieve 50%, our attendance with the full pay is equivalent to what is the payout? 20 to 25%. Remaining 30% is a buffer, and they will be helpful to the next month. Of course, this definitely helped out to the coming months also. So I was thinking it could not possible in a practical way, but it is successfully running from March. March we were having buffer, April we are having buffer, May we are hoping, June we are hoping, July I fought with the management, but June, July management exhausted. They said no, we could not. But this kind of strategies ways from the HR, of course, we can call collective effort from everyone. I put my problems in front of my operations head. I make him to think like HR. He or she definitely give advices. If you give someone to advise to the HR, I'll not say like that. You are an HR, take this decision, sort it out. So HR analytics point of view, I wanted to share my experience. This data helped me out, where 100% expenses is equivalent to 20% attendance, will get 100% profit. So I'm sure did I explain that? I don't know. Yeah, Anupam.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your insights, Anand. And definitely, there are n number of new initiatives. So the best one, which exchange leaves. We used to talk about this one of the thing yesterday in my office. Like, can't we have such kind of benefit for the employee instead of having another thing on the eve of Diwali? So, but that's good to know that someone has initiated and definitely is going to be imparted across the industries or the company. So, moving ahead, Anand, we have multiple questions from the side of students, and not all I maybe cover up, but definitely I'll try to cover as
Anupam,
yeah, Yeah, Pramod?
Basically, today I'm feeling some kind of technological
Yeah, I can
sentences.
understand. Not although we could
Able
understand
to
that.
deliver my all the insights and whatever we have. Even I have not participated in the mainstream of talks. We just finished it over here. But I will, since
Yeah.
this platform is for all the students, most of the, I could say the participants are, I am students. They just after years ahead, they will indulge into the platform of their profession. So I would just suggest something they could have borne in mind, because the time is constrained. I have two problems. You have a time constraint. I have a technological constraint. In meantime, I would say some things, some skills which they have to borne in mind, because in the near future they will just join a company, just they will join a place where they will have to apply this kind of skill. All the IIM professionals and all the HR professionals, they have, hello,
Yes, we can hear you, Pramod. Go ahead.
they have some core skill they should possess. And the most important, which I understand in my 23 years of professional journey, it should be in the traits of HR professionals. So that's first I could define over here is communication. The first thing is more important for HR guys, for HR professional is communication. Because आपने सुना ही होगा कि बहुत ही थोड़ा मैं छोटे लैंग्वेज में बोल रहा हूँ कि कहते हैं कि ये जो यही चीज पान भी खिलाता है और यही डांट भी खिलाता है. It's a very common phrase. We use it in life. The first is communication. The HR professional should have a good communication skill. Second one, I could understand, I would define over here is their relationship building. Because HR, what is human resource? जब हम बात करते हैं human resource की, we talk about the human resource, human relations. The second thing that is more important for HR professional is their relationship building. Hello?
Yes, Pramod, we can hear you.
And third is their adaptability. Fourth is their technological skill. And fifth, I could say their learning skill. They should have always a learner. They have to treat themselves. They treat oneself as if they are learner. And the one most important thing that I could understand that I would have to tell over here is their critical thinking. This is very important for today. You have heard a lot of HR stalwart is moving, and they are just sharing their critical thinking thoughts about the industry and about the things. In this critical thinking, Elder has a prominent. He was a prominent scholar, and he has described as a critical thinking is a self-guided, self-disciplined thinking which attempt to reach the highest level of quality in a fair-minded way. This is the most important attribute for every HR professional. Whether you are hiring new candidates, negotiating pay rises, or just you are indulging into a CD platform, I mean to say charter of demand platform. These all things required for their in their attribute.
I think we lost him. Moving ahead, we were just trying to cover up some of the questions. Those have been drafted or circulated by some of the students. So Anand and Gayatri and Purva, could you just help us to identify some of the relevant questions so that we could answer?
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, we could take up the question from Vibhudat.
Okay. Let me see what exactly the question is all about. I can see Abhishek Rathor, Venkata Akhil at the same time. Okay, it's one of a huge question. Fine, that's not an issue. So Anand and Gayatri, one of the students wanted to say, like, with adoption of work from home, the time saved in commute was hailed. However, Microsoft's employee pulse release in September highlighted that no commute might just hamper remote worker productivity, as there was no more ramping up to a work and winding down which took place during commute. It suggested that a digital assistance which can help workers in doing this can help. What is the role of HRs in this context? Anand, can you hear me? Or do we have Gayatri also, Purva, on call?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, Gayatri, we were talking about one of the questions that have been raised to us.
I have checked out. I was just waiting if I need to answer it first or you want someone else. All right. So yes, fabulous question and bang on. Most of the, especially in the IT industry, at least 95% of the associates are working from home. Yes, and what Vibhu Dutt has said is absolutely right. What Microsoft has given in their Pulse. So Pulse release, it definitely makes sense that how does it impact the organization if my commuting time is reduced, right? Whatever the deliverables are, I have to meet that, right? Like if at all I have to, I'll be reaching office at 10 o'clock and I, like, previously if I had to start by 9, there was 1 hour commute, morning, evenings, around 2 hours of commute time, which I was investing into. It doesn't matter to the organization, which is rightly pointed out. But in this case, the opportunity that, I mean, we have done this in our organization, wherein we had floated out a lot of individual development series from a learning and development perspective. So we had floated a lot of videos on our social website. So we had requested associates to go through those learning videos, which otherwise, that is the time which otherwise they would have invested in their commute. Because on Pune, the minimum travel time, I mean, the least travel time a person is required to invest is at least half an hour in the morning, and again around half an hour, 45 minutes in the evening. So we had requested each and every associate to go through the learning cycles. And then we had also asked, because we used to get those updates as to whenever which employee from which BU the learning has the person has downloaded the learnings and gone through it. So we used to float a questionnaire also. I mean, used to know, it is still continuing. So we float a questionnaire for each learning series that the person has attended to, and we take a feedback from the person, and then we based on the feedback that we had received, we have uploaded more such videos in one particular area, whereas for a few areas we had to pull down those videos and say, because it's not, people were not finding it much worthwhile. So this is how few of these steps that our organization has taken up. And this is also helping me to engage with the associates. It's not only the social engagements which are required, how you generally also engage the associates, because a happy employee, or a satisfied employee, will ensure that he's there with the organization for a longer duration. But engaged employee is the one who will ensure that the productivity is maintained at the highest level. So whatever tenure, there can be associates who are there with the organization just for 1.5 years, 2 years, but then the productivity during that period has to be at the highest level, and that you can have only with the engaged employees and not only the satisfied employees. So that's my take on it. I hope I have answered your question, Vibhu Dutt.
Yeah, moving ahead, Purva, could you please suggest for another one? And I want Anand to answer this question.
Ma'am, due to paucity of time, we would probably take the last question now. And this is from Venkata Akhil.
Yeah. Anand, can you hear us?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So, Purva, I request if you just revise the question what we have.
Sure, ma'am. Just a second.
Okay, so Anand, the question is how do HR identify potential candidates from skilled candidates as the data only gives the data of past and also the required skills are always changing the uncertainty.
The question is it for hiring or current available active resources?
Yeah.
Does it for hiring or you're asking for available with resources?
This is, I believe this is available, consideration for the available because it says how do HR identify potential candidates and potentials once we have the existing employees with us, or there also says potential candidate from skilled candidates as the data only gives the data of the past and also the required skills. I mean, the aspirations also has to be clear at that same way, which is always changing with uncertainty.
Yeah. Again, I will explain the practical experience which we could able to do. Do you all know volleyball? So in the volleyball, might everybody knows about it. In the volleyball, nowadays I learned in from MBA 360 peer to peer appraisal, 360-degree behavioral rating, anchor scale, bell curve, Pramod performance. Many things are there. So I don't know where bookish knowledge to coming to the organization point of view. I could able to correlate and implement very less in terms of in point of view in organization. What I taught, in volleyball, we get whoever performing well, they get green card. Whoever okay, they get orange card. Whoever not performing, they get red card by umpire. Hope you all know about it. I think in volleyball and football also same thing. So the same concept they follow. So we were following from last 4 years in the same organization: red card, orange card, and green card. So green card, no question. If you give boost, if you don't give boost, if you pay, if you don't pay, they perform well. That's all. That is a right sticker for that. For orange card, they perform okay, meeting the expectation. They call on work. They work on call. Red performers, it is a indirectly strategy line says that it is a no use with them. Either you need to bring red line to orange card to green card. These three strategies we could able to prepare a data, and those data green and orange we could able to applied in stop model, where we have prepared the stop model. The stop model directly indirectly talks about the performance. So red people who are on the bench, red people punished, and green people appraised. Green people awarded, and orange people appraised. That's what my note in a practical way, Anupam.
Yeah, and actually, it's correlate to at the same time with the practical level once we come up with the identifying the potential because there are n number of tools that have been available to identify the candidates at the
Yes.
same time. So, moving ahead without a delay, because we have already been running short of time. We already crossed the defined time which Tripurva has
Yeah.
shared with us. So, anyways, thank you so much for your time today, Anand, Gayatri, and Pramod. Unfortunately, Pramod have just met with some technical glitch, but whatever the insights he shared, that was quite informative for all of us. And we believe the community will definitely get benefit whatever we have shared with them. So, over to you, Purva.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot,
And
Anupam. Thank you,
right,
Purva.
right, sir.
Thanks a
I
lot,
would
Sarang, for asking me to participate in this.
Sure, sir. First of all, we would like to thank our esteemed panel of guests, Mr. Pramod Kumar Tripathi, Ms. Gayatri Patil, Mr. Anand Maheshwaram, and Ms. Anupam Singh for taking time out from their busy schedule and sharing their valuable inputs and vast knowledge with the students of IIM Kashipur. We would have hoped that this session would have happened in person and we wouldn't have faced the technical glitches that we faced today. And it would have been a very, very interactive and wonderful session. But nevertheless, over the platform that we've had today, it's been great. So thank you so much for joining in and chalking out time tonight.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
first of all, entire panelists from my end, Gayatri, Pramod, and Anand, you two, for being so supportive and answered all the questions what I have just raised on upon you, just to be on bang on table. And thank you, the entire team, including Purva, you too.
Yeah, thank you so much. Investing the Sunday evening, Anupam, and all the panelist members and all the students. We definitely wish you a great success ahead. Let not the pandemic have a feeling of negative thoughts coming to your mind, because there is so much to learn through this unexpected situation. There's a huge turmoil, but only when there is when there are challenges thrown up, we make an effort to go the extra mile and learn something more. So all the best to you all, and I'm sure you will be doing great in your career ahead, and of course even in your personal lives. All the best to you. Thanks, Anupam. Bye. And of course, a special thanks to 𝗥cie𝗹𝘆𝘁 also, because he'd called up, and I mean, I really appreciate the kind of zeal and enthusiasm that you guys are showing. Amazing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all. I really feel happy. We had a great time on Sunday. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the insights from Gayatri ma'am, Anupam, Purva, and Sarang, and entire panelist and IIM Kashipur. All the best.
Bye.